and welcome our beloved viewers to RTD's News English Edition. As usual, we begin tonight's news with the major and top highlights. Let's follow. Celebration of the National Press Day. Europe faces the challenge of energy saving in the international scene. Those were the major and top highlights. Welcome back, our beloved viewers. Under the auspice of the Prime Minister, took place today, Thursday, the celebration of the National Press Day at the People's Palace, which brought together government, media personalities, and civil society. This day dedicated to the national press organs such as the Radio Television of Djibouti and the organs of written press, which saw the presence of the Minister of Telecommunications and several other ministers to this event, underlines the importance of this day and the central role that the media play in the life of the country. Journalists from different media outlets such as RTD and the Nation gathered to participate in the celebration and recognize the contributions of their colleagues to the profession. Both the Minister of Telecommunications and the Prime Minister gave speeches at the event highlighting the importance of the media in promoting transparency, accountability, and digital development. The Minister of Telecommunications spoke about the role of the telecommunications industry in supporting the work of journalists and the media. The Prime Minister also addressed the importance of the media in promoting good governance. Here are some highlights of the event that took place today at the People's Palace, with the presence, as we see, of the different personalities. In a speech made by the head of the National Media Authority, Mr. Ali Mohammed Dimbiu, he pointed out in the foreword to the importance of the occasion of commemorating the National Press Day and said that this day should be an opportunity for all of us as journalists and as political decision makers, as well as civil society, to reflect on the statue of the media in our country, he said. For his part, the Minister of Communication in charge of Posts and Telecommunications, Mr. Radwan Abdullahi Bardon, spoke in a speech about the role of communications in supporting the work of journalists and media professionals. Last but not least, Prime Minister Mr. Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed stressed in his speech the importance of the media in promoting transparency, accountability, and digital development. At the end of the ceremony, the National Communication Commission, which is known as CNC, distributed press cards to the journalists present, marking an important step in the government's efforts to support and recognize the work of journalists in Djibouti. Press cards are official documents that identify journalists as members of the media and grant them certain privileges, such as access to press conferences and other events. Press cards are issued by the CNC, which is responsible for the regulation and supervision of the media in the country. The distribution of press cards to journalists is seen as a positive development in the media sector. It is a recognition of the important role journalists play in informing the public and holding those in power accountable. It also helps ensure the journalists do their work without fear or reprisal or censorship. The CNC said press cards are issued to journalists who meet certain criteria, including being employed by a recognized media organization and having demonstrated ethical and professional journalism. This measure is intended to ensure that only reputable and responsible journalists receive their press cards. Still in the national context, this Thursday took place in the premises of the Ministry of National Education and Vocational Training, the signing of a framework agreement to strengthen cultural and artistic education. The objective of this convention is to highlight art and culture within education through the pooling of efforts in teams to promote expression through creation via the first platform of cooperation between the MGSA and the MEMFOP. The National Implementation Agency, Mr. Mustafa Mohammed Mahmoud, also proposed to the integration of the Ministry of Youth and Culture within the Rashkesh project in partnership with Qatar. During this interview, many perspectives were confronted, especially concerning the program of school competitors and musical activities with schools, which will allow in the future to underneath talent by integrating arts and culture in education as a discipline or option depending on the level of study. It is the presence of determined spirits in a peaceful atmosphere that the meeting offered the signing of a convention between MEMFOP and the MJSA to promote national culture through youth and their education was closed. The ceremony was attended by MEMFOP Secretary General Mohammed Abdullah Mahyoub, the Director of the Inspector General and Senior Staff of MEMFOP, the Ministry of Youth and Culture Senior Technical Advisor Idris Musa Ahmed, and so on. The Ministry of City, Urbanism and Housing, Mrs. Amina Abdi Aden, paid a working visit to the Islamic Development Bank in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. On this occasion, the minister who represented the Ministry of Economy and Finance proceeded to the signature of a financing agreement of 15 million US dollars. The president of the Islamic Development Bank, Dr. Mohammed Suleiman Al Jasir. This financing agreement with the IDB is in line with the strategy of mobilizing financial resources for the Zero Slums program initiated by His Excellency the President of the Republic. The first envelope of 15 million US dollars from the IDB will allow the launch of urban restructuring and upgrading operations in the Jaga Bulldog district, as well as the preparation of a new master plan for the city of Djibouti. Review the historical relations between the Republic of Djibouti and the IDB, as well as the projects in prospect. Under the high patronage of the Minister of Trade and Tourism, the National Implementation Unit of the Enhanced Integrated Framework organized this morning a validation workshop for the National Strategy for Trade Development and the National Strategy for the Development of Electronic Commerce at the Sheraton Hotel. This validation workshop was chaired by the Ministry of Trade and Tourism, Mr. Mohammed Warsamederiye, and was attended by the Secretary General of the Ministry of Trade, Mr. Ali Dawood. The focal point of the EIF project in Djibouti, Mr. Hiba Ahmed, the International Consulate Representative of International Organization and Development Agency. The objective of this workshop is to leverage e-commerce to accelerate economic growth and diversification, unlock Djibouti's productive capacity and middle-income country stature. This Wednesday at Sheraton Hotel was held the ceremony of awarding certificates to the winners and participants of the youth section of the 12th CJSOI Games held from December 4 to 11. In addition to the Minister, Dr. Hebo, the ceremony was attended by the Ministry of Trade and Tourism, several honorable members of Parliament, the youth participants and winners, the senior staff of the MJC, and several other guests of honor. After the presentation of the young Baden, the ceremony of awarding certificates and prizes as rewarded for talented young people who have distinguished themselves brilliantly at the 12th Games of the CJSOI organized in Mauritius and have raised the flags of Djibouti. First, it is the group Black Rain Production, composer of the popular multilingual song that won the contest organized by the MGSA, which is rewarded with a check of 500,000 Djiboutian francs given by the Ministry of Commerce. This song celebrating unity and solidarity in diversity combined the Djiboutian participation throughout the Games. Then the young champion gold medalist in e-sport, Mahad Umar Farah, receives from hands of the Ministry of Youth complete equipment for his next training sessions. The mayor of Djibouti officially launched large-scale operations aimed at cleaning public roads from vehicles left on the roads. On the 24th of December, these vehicles were randomly left in all neighborhoods, are considered a reason for narrowing the roads disabled traffic too. This campaign falls within the framework of the tireless efforts undertaken by the mayor of Djibouti to beautify the Djiboutian capital and stimulate traffic. The mayor of Djibouti City, Mr. Said Dawood Mohammed, informs the residents that an operation to remove abandoned vehicles and repair shipwrecks will be carried out on public roads from next Saturday, December to 7th January in all municipalities of the capital. The sub-prefect of the first district, Mr. Abdi Hassan, and the president of the commune of Bil'aus, Mr. Abdul Ghadir Iman, and has proceeded yesterday, Wednesday, in the presence of the head of the police department of the first district, Mr. Ibrahim, an information and consultation meeting with local elected officials and traders of the commune of Bil'aus, as well as neighborhood councils. The working sessions focused on the theme of the campaign, Djibouti Cleaning City. The objective of this meeting was, above all, congratulating all the inhabitants of the city of Djibouti for their participation in the campaign initiated by the mayor of the capital, but also to inform traders and representatives of neighborhoods on the preservation of the cleanliness of the urban environment in ways and means in the main axis of the capital as Avenue 13 and place Mahmoud Harbi in the vicinity of Nuga Pri, especially with regard to the traffic jam and cars poorly parked in large tankers that park at Avenue 13 and cause a pluggage of traffic. The sub-prefect of the first district, Mr. Abdi Hassan, and the president of the commune of Bil'aus, Mr. Abdul Ghadir, recalled that public health is everyone's business and that the cleaning of the main roads and streets of the city must be daily and that this campaign must continue permanently in each district. We are very sorry to announce the death of the late Hussein Ahmed Hussein, chief of the village of Randa and one of the main customary chiefs of the regions of Tajura, who died yesterday evening at the General Hospital of Beltiye. The Prime Minister, Abdul Ghadir Kamil Mohammed, expressed his deepest condolence to the family of the late Hussein Ahmed Hussein and all his relatives. The Prime Minister also wished to pay tribute to the memory of the late Hussein Ahmed Hussein, a wise man and a great traditional leader, well versed in customary law, who was very important in settling delicate disputes within the Sultanate of Tajura. Moreover, the ambassador of Djibouti to Belgium, Mr. Aden Mohammed, sends his condolences to the family of the late Hussein Ahmed Hussein, to his relatives, and to the entire population of Randa. Born in 1966 in Randa, Hussein Ahmed Hussein joined the civilian staff of the Djiboutian Armed Forces as an accounting officer after his secondary education. In 1995, he became a teacher. He then became chief of the village of Randa in the early 2000s, replacing his illustrious father, Ahmed Hussein Ahmed. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. It's time to shift gears towards the international scene. Now it's time to save energy in Europe. While various governments are encouraging people to reduce their consumption, many people are substantially trying to reduce their use of energy, whether for financial and environmental reasons. In Belgium, a few years ago, researchers and citizens launched the slow heat experiment, which consists in living without central heating. Well, by this our blood viewers, we finally conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us, and make sure to tune in later for more. Have a wonderful evening. Take care. We wish you a happy weekend.